It's not just Ted and I. We have a team of reporters that are covering election night for the 2020 Massachusetts primary, and we want to go to one of them right now. Our colleague Kim Kalunian is in Watertown, Massachusetts with the Kennedy campaign. And Kim, you were with Joe Kennedy earlier today. How is he feeling?
Yeah, Tim, well, I can attest to the fact that Ted really treats Election Day like a holiday. He gets really excited. But someone who was also excited was Congressman Joe Kennedy. Like you mentioned, he had said that high turnout was going to be his ticket to victory. And with the numbers that we've been seeing from the South Coast and Attleboro, he was feeling great today when we met up with him in New Bedford. He was greeting voters, shaking hands, high fives, giving hugs. I did ask him, I said, because of the uncertainty of this particular primary night, with wondering when we're going to know clearly who has won, did he prepare a victory speech, a concession speech, and an I don't know speech? And he said at this point, when I talked to him around 3:30 this afternoon, he said he hadn't prepared anything, and he would start to figure out what he was going to say to his supporters tonight right about now when the polls close. Now, getting out the vote for him today was crucial, like we've been saying. He said high turnout was his critical factor in winning this election. And not just for him in this individual race, right? The Kennedy family is a dynasty, a political dynasty here in the state of Massachusetts. I'm stealing this factoid from Ted Nesi, who said that the Kennedys haven't lost a Massachusetts election since Robert Kennedy, this is Congressman Joseph Kennedy's grandfather, lost the 1968 Democratic presidential primary to Eugene McCarthy. But of course, 2020 is an entirely different animal. Not only because we are dealing with the coronavirus. It has completely changed the way that these candidates campaign. And today I asked the congressman what primary day in the middle of a pandemic feels like. Here's what he had to say.
Everything in the middle of a pandemic is different. But look, the basics on this are the same. It is about trying to get out to as many places as you can with as many people as you can. Make sure you give in every last ounce of effort and energy to respect the voters and say, look, I'm willing to give you my all and pour my heart and soul into this because I think they deserve it.
And both Congressman Kennedy and Senator Markey have been crisscrossing the state today, like the congressman said, trying to get out that last-minute vote, go to as many places as possible, talk to as many people as possible. But one place where you won't see a crowd of supporters is right here at his speech tonight. That's because only the media has been invited to cover this in person. Due to the coronavirus pandemic, the congressman will instead be addressing his supporters virtually tonight. It'll be an entirely different feel, like what we've been seeing with the national conventions. No pumped up crowd here, although they are blasting the music maybe to get the media pumped up. But he will be addressing his supporters virtually tonight. Maybe once we have some sort of an idea who has won this race. Tim and Ted?
Well, and Kim, as I told you, I learned from Steve Kornacki, who's now at MSNBC. He's an analyst there, and he's a Massachusetts native, that he says the Bobby Kennedy 1968 shouldn't even count because Bobby was a write-in that year. He had missed the deadline. So you might, if you don't count that, you have to go back to Honeyfitz, grandfather of Ted Kennedy, JFK, and Jack, who lost the 1942 Democratic U.S. Senate primary. So it's, I mean, and we don't mean to make light of it exactly, but just to get across, there have been many elections we've covered with Kennedy names on the ballot. They don't usually lose.
And Kim, we haven't heard an I don't know speech since the 2000 presidential election. Think the hanging chads there. I know you said there are no supporters on scene there, but you said there's media. We're used to covering these election nights shoulder to shoulder with our colleagues from our competing TV stations, whatnot. Kind of give us a sense as to how many reporters are there, what's around you right now, since you don't have all his supporters in the area.
Yeah, I mean, there is a decent-sized crowd of media gathered. At this point, we're still waiting to hop onto that riser that you see here behind me. But there's, maybe, I don't know, my photographer Corey is here. He can give us a look. Maybe a dozen or so, maybe more, maybe 20, 25. I'm really bad at estimating how many folks are here. But yeah, like you said, Tim, usually we're in some sort of a hotel ballroom, right? Packed shoulder to shoulder. People are mingling, music is blasting, everyone's feeling excited, they're pumped up, they're optimistic. It's an entirely different vibe.